name and stuff. What's our name again?
Family of 4 in the great outdoors.
Okay. And the camera set. Hello all, welcome to Family of 4 in the Great Outdoors. I know that it's been a really long time since we last put up a video, but we're really excited to be out and about and camping again. We are in Foster at Larnies Island for a good 7 days. I think we actually extended it to 9 days. And we've had rain, we've had sun, we've had wind, we've had beautiful still weather. We've been loving the ocean, really happy to be out and about again with our 2 gorgeous boys, nearly 4 and nearly 2.
So for today, what we wanted to have a look at is sleeping. That often gets asked when people are getting into camping. What kind of sleep setup should we choose? You know, there's heaps of different options. There's blow-up beds. There's self-inflating mattresses. There's self-inflating mattresses on stands, there's double height air mattresses, there's foam mattresses, and there's just an immense amount of choice, and we've gone through quite a lot of it.
If there is anything that you care about, it is the bedding arrangement. So you're in for a treat today because we have a few different beds that we're going to look at. We're also going to go through the evolution of the family of 4 bedding situation.
So we can tell you what's worked for us and what hasn't worked
Yeah.
for us, and what's worked, I guess, at different stages. Basically, a good camping trip and a bad camping trip often comes down to how well you sleep. I found anyway.
Yeah. So the evolution of the family of 4 in the great outdoors before kids sleep setup.
So the first thing we ever did was we got one of the fast frame beds, the plastic frames that go up like that you just have a fabric pocket that you blow up an airbed inside of. And that was okay. It was a bit off the ground. You could store stuff underneath on the frame.
Yeah, that was handy. It was cool to be off the ground as well, so you
Yeah.
got a bit more airflow coming through.
Yeah.
I felt.
So that was alright for a little while, but I move around a little bit when I sleep, and the air mattress was noisy.
Yeah.
And as air mattresses always tend to do, it tended to deflate, and you were forever getting a pump in your tent to pump it up, and
Yes.
that was before the days of easy accessible lithium batteries or AGM batteries that you could just plug a pump into and pump it up. You had to run a cord to an inverter that was plugged into your car and whatever else.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So it was fairly unreliable. We had to keep attending to it. So we went.
and so we threw it out, and we got 2 of the first sort of generation older style self-inflating air mattresses, the sort of queen size 4-wheel drive mats.
It was genius. We stacked it on top of the frame,
Yeah.
and we thought that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, so we thought we'd keep the frame, use the frame from the airbed because that was alright, and use these self-inflating mattresses that were foam instead of the air mattress that went inside it, and that was okay. We were noticing that you could feel the pressure points a little bit from the plastic base. At the time I went over to Bunnings and got them to cut up a sheet of plywood that I then slid in underneath the mattresses, between the base and the mattresses. And that gave us a firm sort of base to have the 2 mattresses on, which took away all the pressure points that you could feel, and that was really good.
Yeah, that was great.
So that was our that was our sleeping setup for quite a long time, really.
Yeah. Only the 2 of us, so space wasn't a huge issue.
Yeah, and towed a trailer everywhere we
Yeah,
went anyway,
we did.
so it didn't matter. Eventually we found was that the mattresses still weren't that great. So the next setup that we went to was a double height air mattress, which was one of those ones with the integrated air pump. Good things about that was that it was really compact, so it packed up into sort of that big by about that big, which meant it was easier to transport around and pack up and that kind of thing. It was still that double height, which was good. You weren't feel like so much you were just sleeping on the ground. So one of the things we did find though is that when you pump it up to a good enough firmness that you don't roll off the side, it's really hard, and I found for us anyway, quite uncomfortable to lie on because it's so hard. So we used one of the 4-wheel drive mats from the previous setup as like a mattress topper to sort of take that out of the equation, and then had a fitted sheet over the top of that.
Yeah, keeping it all together.
Yeah, so that was good. It stopped it moving around as much, and overall that was a pretty good setup. It provided a bit of insulation as well to negate some of the coldness of an airbed. So that was pretty good as well. So this is our current setup. So what we ended up going with was 2 of the Blackwolf Hexatherm 3D self-inflating mats, coupled with an X-Ped coupler so that they held together. We went with the 2 singles rather than a double because it makes it a slightly wider bed. It makes it more of a queen size bed rather than whatever the 136, 140 at best centimetre wide bed that the normal doubles are. You can adjust the hardness, the firmness a lot more. So it means that I can have it a certain firmness and Candace can have it a certain firmness based on what we prefer, rather than just being stuck with the double, which would obviously be the same firmness. So that's that's really good as well. And it means that we can use one or the other, or split them into 2 if we have the boys using them or something like that. So it just gave us a little bit more flexibility. The second part of this that we really liked is we got rid of the Outback comforter because it wasn't quite wide enough to fit on these 2 beds, and we replaced it with this, which is the Nemo Jazz Duo Luxury. They make it just a standard duo, which is a bit shorter and narrower. So the Luxury fits perfectly on the 2 sort of king single size self-inflating mattresses, and we really like that it has the sort of the fitted sheet part, so it stays on the bed, and it's not like a mummy shape, so it doesn't come in at the feet, so it fits on the bed a lot better. So this is a really, really good sleeping bag. It took quite a lot of research to find something that would work for us like this. We've had this in snow as well as 30 degrees this week, and it's been really good. Because it's got an integrated sheet in it, it means that if it's too hot for the top, you can just use the sheet, and it makes it a little bit more versatile in terms of the amount of seasons that you can use the bag in. So also having the hood means that your pillows aren't falling off the edge of the bed as well. Now it is on the ground, which some people might find a bit tough, but the boys, as you can probably see, love running around in here, and it means it sort of gives us a little bit more play space being flat to the ground rather than a big obstacle. Yeah, it's surprisingly comfortable for being on the ground, and as I said before, it's good being able to adjust the firmness of it to accommodate for that. So I'm a side sleeper, and I still find that's great. So yeah, this is our latest evolution in our sleep setup, and I think this one for us at the moment has been really good, and one that we'll be sticking with for quite a while now. So hopefully you found some of that helpful. If you've got any questions, let us know. Okay, so while we're talking about sleep setup, I just wanted to do a quick update to a previous video. So we previously talked about the sleep setup that we use for our kids, and that's all good. David was originally using an air mattress with some sides on it, and that had a sleeping bag that went with it, and that was really, really good. He loved it, slept really well in it. It was great. The sleeping bag didn't move around. However, he started to grow out of it a little bit, and so we wanted to try and get him a new mattress that would grow with him, so we didn't have to keep changing his sleep setup, and it could be something that was consistent for him. So we tried a couple of things. I tried one of these X-Ped camping mats, which are really compact, and we thought having something this size would pack down so well. The problem is, again, it's an air mattress, and so it was really noisy for him to move around on, and it just, because it doesn't have any sides on it as well, it was quite low to the ground and quite narrow, being a hiking mat, that he'd just roll off it. He barely stayed on the mat at all. So between the noisiness and the falling off it all the time, we just thought that wasn't really an option. So what we got just for this trip is one of the Zempire King Single Monster Mats. The thinking behind this was that because it's a self-inflator, it's got foam, so it's less noisy for him to roll around on, so he's less likely to wake himself up. It's wider as well, so he can roll around a little bit and still stay on the mattress. And it's got, because it's 100 mil, 10 centimeters high, it's a little bit easier. It's not so much at ground level for him. There's some sort of edge or some sort of boundary for him to sleep on. So that's been working really well. It's really nice and comfy, and he was super excited to have a new camping bed. It moves around and doesn't stay on the bed. So I think what we'll probably end up doing is a fitted sheet and using this as a blanket for now until he learns to stay in the one spot. We're stoked with the sleep setup at the moment. It's really comfortable. We get a good night's sleep, and as I said before, the difference between a good camping trip and a bad camping trip is a good night's sleep often, particularly when you're wrangling kids all day, so that's quite helpful. So yeah, hit us up with any questions. Hopefully you found that helpful.